Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television Lagos. Well, let's take a look at some of the pictures you sent into our eyewitness portal. First is this one from Oguta local government area of Imo State, showing a classroom that our eyewitness reporter says is not conducive for learning. Our reporter wants the government to look into the state of education infrastructure in the state. It's followed by this one from Eneka Road in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, showing a flooded road. Our eyewitness reporter wants the government to construct a more efficient drainage system in that area. We also have this picture from Egbe Bridge in Orioke area of Ejigbo in Lagos State, showing refuse all over the street, mostly in the drainage. Our eyewitness reporter is asking environmental officials to pay attention to this. This picture is from Awolowo Way in Ikeja, the Lagos State capital. Our eyewitness reporter wants drivers to always check the state of their vehicles before embarking on any journey. And finally is this one from Ojota area, also in Lagos, showing a pedestrian bridge. Our eyewitness reporter says the Ojota pedestrian bridge is too small and needs some expansion. I'd like to thank all our viewers and eyewitness reporters for sending in those reports, and we urge you to keep them coming. The Department of State Services in Rivers State has arraigned 2 people for alleged involvement in the gruesome murder of one of its officers. The late Garrick Oyahiri was killed in Ogba Egbema Ndoni local government area of the state. Another man was also arraigned for allegedly shooting to death one Bright Iruanya in Okrika local government area. The DSS is asking the court to punish the suspects in line with Section 319 of the Criminal Code laws of Rivers State. The Chief Magistrate, Barasimpi Jamabo, who presided over the matter, adjourned it to August the 11th and has ordered the suspects to be remanded in prison. Following the declaration by Mr. Okeze Ikpeazu that he remains governor of Abia State, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation and the Acting Inspector General of Police have been asked to act swiftly and ensure that Mr. Uche Oga is sworn in. The spokesman of Uche Oga campaign organization, Max Ozoaka, made this appeal when speaking with journalists in Abuja. He insists that it's necessary to address this issue, which has created an administrative and constitution vacuum in Abia State.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, that there is actually no governor in Abia State, and technically speaking. So that is why the situation is going to. What we have now is the state of vacuum, administratively and constitutionally. The person that had been acting has been removed by an order of court, and the issuance of a certificate of return to the person declared as governor effectively and technically removes him as governor. And this person not having been sworn in, there's no governance. There's no governor in Abia State, technically speaking. So Abia State is in a state of uncertainty, administratively and constitutionally, which in our view should be addressed by the authorities. Specifically, we are asking the Chief Justice of the Federation, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Inspector General of Police to do the necessary things to ensure that a declared governor is sworn in as soon as possible, so that the state of uncertainty and near anarchy that is presently prevailing in Abia State should discontinue.
The Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party says there's no cause for worry amid fears over the leadership crisis in the PDP, even as it prepares for the governorship election in September. The state chairman of the party, Mr. Dan Obi, told Channels Television in Benin City that the PDP has remained united until some individuals began sponsoring suspended members to tear it apart.
The recent events leading to the emergence of Senators Ahmed Makarfi as acting national chairman of the PDP and Ali Modu Sharif leading a faction of the party, coupled with the several court judgments that followed, are clear indications that the party is currently going through trying times. The crisis at the national level has also affected the Edo State People's Democratic Party, which is gearing up to take over power from the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state. The Edo State PDP chairman, Chief Dan Obi, speaks on the recent court judgments.
Don't forget, the Justice Abang ruling was based on the fact that he even denied the lawyers representing the party to appear in that matter, in that very case, and he shut out our lawyers representing the party in the case, and took to Sheriff and the former National Secretary, who brought in some lawyers who claimed that they have no objection to restrain the party until the final determination of the matter before Justice Abang. To me, this is a travesty of justice. It's unacceptable, and the party will not fold its hands and watch mischief makers take to court to ridicule our party.
Chief Dan Obi also describes the recent factional PDP governorship primary election in Edo State as a mischievous venture embarked upon by some suspended members of the party.
That must be present at any party congress, call it primaries, congress, special congress, or what have you. None of them was at the stadium to participate in that event. Even the local government chairman of Ikpoba was not at the stadium. These are statutory delegates, and I, the state chairman of the party, was not at the stadium.
After losing power to the All Progressives Congress in the 2015 presidential election, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has been battling to keep itself one. But the PDP Edo State says it's in high spirits and ready to win the upcoming governorship election in Edo State.
Commercial motorists who fail to install the speed limiting device in their vehicles may have the Federal Road Safety Corps to contend with, as the agency plans to come down hard on defaulters. This follows a suspension of the embargo on the enforcement of the device in commercial vehicles and trucks by the National Assembly. The Corps Marshal, Mr. Boboye Oyemi, told journalists in Abuja that the federal lawmakers have decided to lift the suspension of the policy, and a new date for its enforcement will be announced shortly.
You recall an annual date for commencement on the compulsory use of speed limiting device was taken, which was to have been 1st of April by all the stakeholders and as approved by Mr. President. But following the intervention by the National Assembly to suspend the enforcement to enable the committee on FRS to conduct a public hearing to determine the desirability of the use of the device, the enforcement was suspended. But following the submission of the committee's report and its debate at the plenary of the House, the recommendation for the lifting of the suspension order was adopted by the House, and accordingly lifted the suspension order on the enforcement of the device. In the same vein, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has also cleared the call for having the powers as legally mandated through the FRSC Establishment Act to introduce the device. Consequently, the call is coming with a new date soon for the commencement of the enforcement on the compulsory use of the device for commercial vehicles, not for all the vehicles.
The Nasarawa State Governor, Tanko Almakura, has begun the review of civil servant salaries in the state. The review is in line with the recommendations of a recently submitted report by a salary review committee. The governor says the decision is prompted by the current economic downturn that has affected the state.
In this regard, government in its wisdom decided to effect a review of the salaries of the categories of workers in the state, including political appointees, and my humble self before you here. This is with a view to ensuring a sustainable payment of salaries. This is so because the challenges and palpitations that goes into the minds of civil servants while awaiting salaries, whether they could receive their salaries, whether they could receive it in full or in percentages, should be avoided. We should have a system, a template, a table that will be sustainable so that our civil servants and other political office holders will be able to have a rested mind with a planned way of utilizing their emoluments. This, in our firm conviction, is the right step to take if the government is to address the thorny issue of sustained payment of salaries as and when due. However, let me point out that this course of action will not in any way tamper with the subsisting national minimum wage.
When the news at 10 returns, we'll take a look at the day's business news. Plus other stories. Stay with us.